Welcome to Survivor NSFW's coverage of The Circle. We're talking the final 4 episodes, episodes 9 through 12. Of course, I am not alone, but I am in a separate room as my compatriots this evening, just like The Circle. I hope I'm not being catfished by anyone. But we have Karen Eisenberg, who is a patron from the Survivor NSFW podcast. And welcome again, Karen. Thank you so much for joining me last week and coming back again this week.
Hi, everybody.
So I'm also joined by the school counselor gone rogue. We have Marni Pasch. Marni, welcome to the Survivor NSFW podcast. This is your first time appearance. I have joined you on your podcast now multiple times, so it's time to return the favor.
Yes, well, thank you. I think it's a bigger honor for me to be here than you coming on my show. But I certainly appreciate that. So, and my daughter's now just a lifelong fan of yours. So there you go.
Well, there's still DNA testing to pursue based on hair and attitude. So
that is true. And after the VA, you're gonna get your Ancestry.com test, and we'll get it all figured out with Maury Povich. So
the Ancestry.com would be a nice follow-up sponsor to Blue Chew and Manscaped. I feel like one leads to the other.
I think you are exactly right. You should throw that down for them with the next season of Survivor there for their sponsorship.
I think it's a good fit. So let's talk The Circle. All right, before we begin, how did you guys watch these last 4 episodes? Because the episodes 1 through 4, New Year's Day, pretty easy. You're most of us are off work. It's a easy binge. It was fun, relaxing, no problem. Fast forward week 2, and you're so scared that so much is going to get on social media to ruin it. It's just like, fuck, I got to watch these that Wednesday. So most of us have jobs. Some of us call in sick. Hi, Karen.
That was last week.
Yes. And so, in between showing houses and everything else that's going on with life, I finished, I believe, 20 minutes before we go live last week. And that was a crunch. Today, I started a little early. So got about an episode and a half out of the way early. And then I only had one of my 2 children. I had the 11-year-old who was watching with me, who also started this morning. And so I was done, with 2-3 hours to spare, not too pressure packed as last week. How did you guys view these last 4 episodes?
I figured I was here to do homework. I just rushed through them all. I was like, all right, gotta get it done. But so I feel like my end of the show was far more pressure viewing than your start of the show. But I managed to just soak it all in one shot. So what about you, Karen?
I started today at around 1. I went into work this morning, came home at around 1, and I knew I would have enough time. But I do feel these 4 episodes, especially because the last episode and a half was basically, the finale. There was a lot less to write notes about.
Yeah.
So I guess I finished, it only took me 5 hours, but I agree with you that this is a ridiculous way to release episodes. If they must do it this way, at least release it on a weekend.
Sure.
But I really feel like for next year, my recommendation would be that they release it maybe once a day or whatever it is, 3 times a week. Because if you have 1 episode coming out Wednesday and Friday, the more than get 4 episodes on a Wednesday.
Whoops, we lost you at the tail end there.
Yeah. I was just saying that, it makes much more sense to me to release, episodes, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever, rather than dropping 3 of them at midnight on a Wednesday.
Yeah. I think if this was an experiment, I think there's some good stuff with just the content of the show, but they failed in many, like, as far as telling us how to play the game, as far as dropping 4 episodes at a time. As I said, it was fine on New Year's Day, but in a normal work week, dropping 4 episodes on a Wednesday, horrific. Not, I mean,
I'm sorry, so in the UK, this is what they do. They release 1 episode a day, or it was maybe 5 or 6 times a week, but you never got more than 1 episode at a time.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. So,
That's fine.
As I said, if this is an experiment, I think they can see where they dropped the ball. It just doesn't, like, a show like this is so easy to have social commentary, and you have people that, either A, want to spoil because they're shit people, or B, they're holding back from discussing it because they don't want to spoil. And so you're just in this weird spot. I mean, like, they're making it so it's not social media friendly on a game that's supposedly inspired by social media.
And I agree. I think there could have been a lot of those old fashioned, like, water cooler moments where you have a conversation about each day if they released it one at a time. But instead, you're on this, like, lag time. Like, my husband now has to catch up because I watched them all today, and my daughter's at school where she should be, can't get her homesick to watch The Circle. So it's not it definitely wasn't as viewer friendly. And I don't know if that's Netflix. This is honestly the first Netflix show I've ever binge watched. So I don't know if that's typical for them, but I agree with you both. I don't think that was smart on their part.
Yeah. Well, typically they just drop everything at once, and this is the start of what is a change to Netflix coming. But like I guess they're slowly breaking us into more, drop. And, I get that they're being kind, but, like, I say it's all or nothing. Just drop them all, and then you're totally destroying your ability for social media interaction. Or as Karen said, 1 a day, 5 a week, whatever. But this doesn't work. So, because
Absolutely.
there's no, like, I was scared to touch social media today.
Oh, I didn't open social media until I was done because I don't trust my own ability to, block hashtags or whatever. I just did not go on until I was done.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I consider that, live and learn. We're figuring it out. So,
yeah, but like you said, especially for a show that is about social media, the fact that you can't really discuss it on social media is a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, let's get into it. Let's start episode 9 when we last left off on last week's season, or episode 8 cliffhanger. Sean was about to come clean, and we discovered, because we haven't been told this, because we were not told anything on this fucking show, that you can send a picture in group chat.
But that, I don't know that they would just be allowed to do that anytime they wanted to. Like, we discussed this a little bit last week about the whole idea of allowing Sean to change her pictures. I mean, in this case, there's an argument for it, but it doesn't seem to me that, that you can then just start changing your pictures, or, like you said, send your picture in chat. That would kind of destroy the game to me.
What happened? So what? I mean, do you like? I mean, are they not telling us the rules so that they can adjust the rules on the fly for whatever they think would be good TV?
No, that seems to be what happened.
I don't know. I mean, you guys both have more experience with the show and production and everything than I probably do, but it would seem like maybe she said something in between recording to producers or something like that kind of signaled that she wanted to come clean. It just seems strange that randomly one person can take their skin off and show who they are. And then, I mean, but then it seemed like Rebecca was able to do the same thing, but she was like, no, I don't want to. So who knows if it was a rule from the beginning or not.
Right. Well, Jonny, as you know, if you've ever read any of these contracts, right, there's always a line that says basically production can do whatever the hell they want.
We can do whatever the fuck we want, whenever the fuck we want. Don't tell us the rules. I mean, like on Survivor, real quick, Lotus Petal says, bro, the last 2 weeks were fucking awful for releases for me. Only time I was able to watch last week was the second it dropped. Didn't finish the batch till like 7 a.m. So that's because it drops at 3 a.m. for most people. So, I think the option to attach an image has always been an option if you speak to production beforehand. Okay, so maybe so. So no, I like on Survivor Per Islands, we used to, we would contemplate daily, the merge is probably happening at this point. The merge is probably happening at we would openly discuss it. And Mark Burnett finally just came to our pulled us aside at one of the challenges. He goes, I will never do a fucking merge if you keep saying the fucking merge. So it's just like, I bet it's soon.
Why is that such a problem, though, on a show like Survivor? I mean, where they can just edit it out. This comes up all the time in Big Brother, right? Because you're not supposed to talk about production. Yeah. Because people are on the live feeds. But on Survivor, who cares if you want to talk about if a merge is coming?
Because it just consumes the conversation. I mean, like, if that's all anyone is talking about, they're just like, we can't use any of the shit. Just like, the merge is fucking coming when it's fucking coming. Like, if you guys could be, adult enough to briefly discuss it, cool. But if this is the only thing you're fucking talking about, we can't use any of it. Go fuck yourselves. So I think it just eventually grows to a point of annoyance to production, and they're just like, we're fucking done. So, and I think that, I didn't remember it being that big a discussion, but at the same time, like, there's some people that just bring nothing to the table conversation wise. And so, they're just like if you're walking around just shooting the shit, looking for casual conversation, they're just like, so you think that merge is happening tomorrow? It's just like, I don't know, maybe. So I think it's more for those people versus the vast majority that, it's just like, hey, should we make fun of Rupert for going after the baby shark and the mama shark today? There's plenty of shit to talk about if you really try.
I don't know. I mean, so do you think then that this was part of production idea, or do you think it was something that was sprung up? Like, what's your take on?
I think they had the ability and no one chose to use it because like I think you can tell the story of who you are with the 3 pictures that you have. Like, if you need more, that that it, like, maybe it could be perceived from the other people that this motherfucker's trying too hard. Like, like, I expressed who I was with 3 pictures, and I'm confident that that's me. And so if you need to give me one more picture, we trying to hide.
Exactly.
Well, in this case, we knew what she was hiding, right? And that's why she wanted 3 more pictures. But I do think, if I was somebody who was playing as myself, right, then obviously, you could ask production, hey, can I post another picture? And the answer is going to be no.
Probably.
I'm not that bothered by it because, again, if they figure it's going to be good TV, they're going to look at it. That doesn't bother me that much.
So I'm of the opinion that Sean's strategy was to go in as a catfish and reveal as strategy that wasn't her.
It's always possible.
I thought it was strange, given her profession and the work that she does, that she even went in as a catfish at all. Like, we were watching that and I was like, well, wait a minute, isn't she going to get a lot of backlash from any of her colleagues or anything like that by saying that there was something wrong with the way that she looked and going in? I thought it was a very bizarre, like, kind of approach to it, but maybe that was the intention, to flip it at one point and use that for gameplay. But the entire time I've been watching this, I've been waiting for gameplay, so it's like it's hard to even decipher what's gameplay and what isn't for me. So
Well, all of this is gameplay. It might not be great gameplay, but it's gameplay. I mean, I do feel like these people are trying to play the game. Like you said last week, they might be trying to play the wrong game, right? They're trying to play let's find the catfish rather than who do I like the most.
Hey, my good friend Shuby, who will be joining us tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the same feed, Survivor, youtube.com/Survivor NSFW, and then you can catch the audio later, links at survivornsfw.com. We have Shuby at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and we have Sammy at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And Shuby, as we guest last week on the show when he used the phrasing, potentially using one of the other circle members as a shield, is in fact a Survivor fan.
I knew it.
I was one of his dad and his favorite Survivors of all time, which he reminded my daughter yesterday in a video in which he said he watched, he loved me 15 years ago when he watched. And so Shuby actually was initiating strategy, and actually when we get to the end, I do have a text I'd like to share that might shed a little light on how the final voting did go. So
Okay.
Is it going to burst my bubble of optimism and sunshine that everyone was just liking each other and friendly, or is it?
I think you're going to be happy with the text.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you look at Shuby's Instagram, and I know you said that you hadn't looked at anyone's, but there's actually a friend of his that said, I hope you go in and play. I can't remember exactly who it was, but he referenced two people from Survivor. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, he does have some Survivor knowledge going into this. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool to see that.
Just using the phrase shield. Do they use that in Big Brother? I feel like that's a Survivor exclusive deal.
No, I think they use it also in Big Brother. It certainly came up in Big Brother Canada last year, but it might have originated on Survivor.
Yeah,
I think it might have been. I think it might have been Jeremy Collins in Second Chances. I started using that term.
I feel Parvati created that term by using Russell as the quote unquote meat shield. So, in which I consider one of the greatest games ever played in the history of Survivor. So, props to Parvati, which I don't mean on a personal level. All right. So we have a rating. And there's an immediate boot for last place. And so we have the voting. First is Rebecca, who has been third place every time. And if you're gonna eventually move to first place, now is not the time. You want it the next time. So next we have in second place Shuby, not a far drop from first. Third is Chris. Fourth, Joey. Fifth, Sammy. Sixth, Sean. Seventh, Adam. And goodbye, Bill.
Bill, the bitter pissy pants that he was when he exited. I was just like, what is your, I was not expecting that reaction from him at all. I don't know why, but what did you guys think?
Karen?
I missed, actually, you froze on me for a minute, so I didn't. What was the question?
What did you think of Bill's reaction? As I like to phrase it, he went from best friend Bill to bitter Bill in 0 to 60.
Yeah, he was probably bitter. Fair enough.
Were you expecting? I mean, because he seemed a little more happy-go-lucky prior to the boot.
My problem is I can't really critique his games. I really cannot tell you anything about this guy except that I enjoy looking at him. But yeah, other than that, I mean, can anybody tell me anything about Bill, where he lives, what he does for a living? I have,
he's in the automotive industry, Karen.
Oh, that's right. Whatever that means.
And we will not go more or less vague than that ever, as long as we're alive. So
does he park cars or something?
He steals cars from valets. So he will be in the new Fast and Furious movie. It's going to be really good. So we will not be having Bill on the podcast, and I will not be watching the new Fast and Furious. So we're good either way. So let us pedal. Bill got fucking hosed, but he was an amazing TV. Yeah, I didn't think. I mean, like, I feel that anyone that came in later in the game just had a huge disadvantage that I felt almost impossible to overcome.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not impossible, because I will tell you in the UK, there are people who have come in later who have made it to the end. But it is definitely a disadvantage. I mean, there's no question about that.
So, Marni, yeah. What do you think about coming in late?
Oh, I was just saying, look at that season of Survivor with coming in from the island the last possible day, and hey, look what happened to him. But
you mean disgraced, shamed Survivor season 38 winner Chris Underwood?
That wouldn't be very polite if I phrased it that way.
I'm just using the correct terms. I'm not trying to be rude.
But yeah, no, he he was, I don't know, he was like, oh, I'm gonna be really nice and friendly until I don't get my way. Like, that's kind of akin to like toddler behavior. I don't know. I wasn't with him when he was there, and I was less impressed when he went out. So
yeah, I'm gonna be everyone's best friend until I see that everyone's being nice, and then I'm like, ugh, fuck that. I felt like that was the strategy.
Well, and then he called everyone fake, and I was like, but they're not being fake. It's like, I don't know. He just seemed, I don't know. There was just something that did not gel with me. So
yeah, I didn't think that everyone seemed fake either. I mean, like, I think that core group just became so friendly that was it. That was they decided that they wanted to play a friendly game, and I think they felt amongst themselves that the people that remained were legit, they were honest, and they were going to protect one another.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's possible that he thought it was fake because he couldn't believe that people like this on a game would, like I said, actually like each other. But it does seem that in the end, most of them did end up liking each other.
Yeah, but I think with a more volatile cast, perhaps, they're sitting there, there's animosity. It's just like, oh, I never liked them. Oh, I never liked them. Like on Survivor, you have your tribe, and like on Pearl Islands, the Drake tribe, we won every challenge, like 5 challenges in a row. And we purposely choose to throw a challenge because we're just like, they get to send motherfuckers home that they don't like. We can't because we keep winning. So let's fucking throw a challenge so we can get rid of a motherfucker. And I think that, in a situation like that, you're getting rid of people, and then the merge is just like, I want the merge to happen so there's new people to talk to. I've heard all these stories. I'm fucking done hearing the same story from Sandra every other day. Like Rhino appears to be stupid, but at least it's a new conversation.
Yeah. But, as we talked about last week, these are very, very different games. I mean, they both fall under the rubric of a social strategy game, but beyond that, they almost couldn't be more different. So I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting. What would a season look like if people really couldn't stand each other? Yeah. Because again, in the UK, that's not what we saw. I mean, there have been individual people who didn't like other individual people, but in general, there was a friendly vibe.
Okay. Karen, this is for you. Evan Beardsley writes, do you feel it is a requirement to play ball with the fakeness in order to succeed in the circle based on the UK version?
I think the short answer is yes. Again, I don't know what would happen if somebody kind of did come in and just try to blow it all up. But if you really value your own life in the game, the question is, do you want to make a point or do you want to win $100,000?
Sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see that they had real connections, but their fake enthusiasm is pretty clear. Yeah. And even in the conversations, between the OGs, who basically did like each other, I'm sure there's still a certain amount of fakeness.
I felt the OGs was more on like.
Yeah.
I felt it was painfully obvious that when someone was dishonest, Shuby did not like that. It was just like, why, how, and why are you being dishonest? I am being 100% honest here, and there is no reason for you not to. And he was, and conversely, and along the same lines, but also opposite, you had Joey, who anyone that said anything negative, he's just like, oh, I hate them. They're the worst person ever. Like I'm going after them. I now have a mortal enemy. And then if you follow that with one nice thing about Joey, goes, and I possibly have a new best friend.
Look, I mean, there is a certain amount of fakeness in all social interactions. When you're admiring somebody's pictures of their child, or and you ask them, what did you do last weekend? And they tell you for 10 minutes. I mean, you were interested in the first 30 seconds, but you smile and you nod because this is what we do to get along with people. So I'm not sure it's that much different, except on top of it, there's 100K on the line.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So moving along, we have Bill, who says if he played again, he would have been fake. Great. Thanks for the insight, Bill. Rebecca and Shuby
probably would have been voted out when you did. So
yeah. Rebecca and Shuby get to go to the hangout and block someone else. And this is Rebecca's first time in the hangout. And Rebecca is glad that he/she is there for her first time, having her cherry broken in, so to speak, with her not boyfriend but possible brother Shuby. And if you're gonna be broken into the hangout, I think Shuby's the best person to go to the hangout with. And Shuby says, "Hey, Rebecca, this is your time here. You get to make the choice."
Right. Well, once they narrowed it down to Sean and Adam, then yes, they all agreed pretty quickly that they both like Chris, Joey, Sammy. They're not going to mess with the OGs. Right? It's Sean versus Adam, and yes, and then being gracious / let Rebecca get the blood on her hands, and she makes the choice.
Yeah. So what do you think about that choice? Adam it ends up being the choice. I was very happy to see Adam leave.
Oh, yeah.
I hated Adam I take that back. I hated Adam up until the second he walked into Rebecca's room. And I thought that was a pretty fun, like the two catfish are just like, there's no animosity. There's no weird. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. He comes around the corner and they see each other and they both just crack up.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, like those seconds, I liked Adam/Alex. I didn't care for him up until those seconds, and even afterwards.
I don't want to go on him too hard, though, because it's happened to me enough times. First of all, we're very careful. We talk about characters because we don't know Alex, right? All we know is what comes out of a highly edited TV show, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
And I've had this experience more than once where you rag on somebody, and then I go to one of these charity events and I meet them and they're lovely and I feel guilty.
Yeah. Well, I preface this with every season of Survivor. I was like, whoever I shit on the most, I guarantee that I will meet and will be the nicest person of the group. So this is, this is only based on the edit that we're presented. And based on that edit, I wouldn't mind Adam getting hit in traffic by car, bus, truck, boat. I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah. And I really can't disagree with those caveats. I really can't disagree with you.
Yeah.
And I understand why they cast him, because he's a big character.
Yeah.
He is, but I don't know what it was. Well, I kind of do know when he first came on the show and they did that intro clip. I was with you, Johnny. Like, I saw him, and in the first 5 seconds, I was like, no, there was something the wrong way. And I think it was because even in his realness, and no offense to him, but even in his realness, something didn't feel authentic. I almost felt like this has got to be some guy out in LA with like some like real hipster podcast or something. Like I felt like even his nerdiness wasn't
Authentic.
there was just something. And I agree. I did like him at the end when they did the whole hug thing. But man, when they flashed Bill and Adam's photos side by side, I could not tell them apart. I was like, oh,
I know. I didn't like when they like I was just like, Bill, you chose the word. Like they both chose really bad photos for their main profile pic. Like Bill was Bill was better looking than the pic that he chose, and then Alex, for all the Adam picks he had to choose from, he chose the worst Adam pick.
Well, I felt with with Adam, he didn't want to. Well, I don't want to go back into that previous episode, but there was a reason to make that choice. Not saying it was because if you get a pick that is more flattering, then you can get right. But then you get into the issues that we had with Mercedes and even with Sammy so there is such a thing as having a pick that's too good.
Yeah, I feel with Alex / Adam. He didn't go, like he may have gone to win $100,000, but I think just as important, if not more important to him, was to live as Adam once in his life.
Yeah, you said that last. Yeah, I can see it.
That's creepy. Like I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm like, I'm like, I don't know if I that could be true, but yeah, that just sounds.
Yeah. I don't think anything's changed this last week. So, I felt it last week. I felt, as I said, I really felt just watching everything with him, just gameplay felt secondary.
Now
I also, yeah.
Why Rebecca was crying. Like when she started to cry at the cut, like get teary-eyed, I thought he was going for Sean. And so I was surprised when it actually turned out to be Alex, because I don't know. Like, I wouldn't have thought that he had that much emotion about it. Like, where do you think that came from?
You mean with Rebecca? The reaction when Alex got cut?
Yeah, when she made that decision, she actually seemed really emotional about it. But at the same time, we see previously that she was like, oh, yeah, he's totally playing me. I know this. Like, so I was just surprised to see her get so him to get so emotional about it.
I think just ending someone's dream, I think was, I don't think it had anything to do with Adam / Alex.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know because, again, there was so much we didn't see. Exactly. Obviously, they had lots of conversations that we did not see.
Yeah.
But Rebecca was quite attached to Adam for a while. And even though later when she realized, yes, she's being played, whatever, that doesn't mean that the emotions go away.
Yeah.
In real life.
I think Rebecca went all in, or Seaburn went all in on the Rebecca character.
Oh, and he took and we saw that was the beginning of the unraveling of the catfish, where multiple people started to say, I just don't buy that this girl is, crying and losing her mind over this guy that she's never actually met. I mean, she's been talking to for a few days. Yeah, so I do think, he was trying to be very method and really go for it.
Beyond method. I mean,
it was too much.
He's switching his wardrobe to pink. He's having full-on conversations with Sir Bear. I mean,
I have a question about Sir Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering,
why is he wearing my mom's track outfit from 1995? I'm like, what is up with that outfit?
Yeah. Kara, what is your Sir Bear question?
I was just concerned, how do you get Sir Bear back to the U.S.? Do you buy him a seat on the plane? Would he fit in a seat on the plane? I mean, I'm being somewhat facetious.
Well, I have a funny wrestling story that you guys may or may not appreciate, but some of our watchers or listeners may. Roddy Piper at a WrestleMania one year went against a wrestler named Bad News Brown, and Bad News Brown was an African American gentleman. And so when Roddy came to the ring, Roddy just wore trunks and boots, and he painted half of his body black. His entire body black.
Mm-hmm.
Would that work 2020? Not so much, but like even at the time it was, whoo, this is something. But it was one of those things is like, it's wrestling. I guess they get a pass, but whatever. So, but this was legit Hollywood paint that stayed on, half his entire, just draw a line down his body. That entire half his body was black. So afterwards, he has, the makeup people that did it, they have a solvent that is in the solvent bottle. Well, while he's wrestling, someone pours out the solvent and just puts water in the bottle. So Ronnie comes back to wash off the makeup. It doesn't come off. And he's like, the solvent, sure, it's thin solvent. You think it's set up a little bit. There's no suds, so he's scrubbing. So he's not a happy camper because he's just like, fuck. He goes, I think they're in Anaheim, and so he has to fly from Anaheim or LAX or whatever back to Portland, Oregon, where he's from, and he had bought his kid a huge Mickey Mouse at Disney to bring home to his kid. So anyway, so he's just furious. So he gets to the airport, he gets to the plane, and they're just like, what's the deal with the big Mickey Mouse? And he's like, I really don't feel like talking about it. He goes, I got fucking Mickey Mouse. And they're just like, sir, you can't bring Mickey Mouse. And end of the story, Mickey Mouse flew first class. A last minute ticket purchase. Full price.
That's a good dad. He really wanted to bring Mickey Mouse back. By the way, all he had to do, send somebody to CVS, get some cold cream, takes the stuff right off. I don't know what kind of fancy solvent they had, but I've done stage makeup. This is not that difficult to get off.
I mean, it was a rib, and and I'm sure whoever he sent to get whatever solvent, whoever did the prank was just like, don't go. Wrestlers are mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but getting back to Sir Bear, if Seaburn, used his prize money for a first class plane ticket, you can do that no problem. I know from experience.
What prize money though? Do they get? And this is something I'm also not clear on. Do they get anything beyond? I mean, if you don't win first place,
we will find out tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
So. There we go.
So there you go. Let's here we go. Yeah, let's talk about Alex's pants. Let's not. Next.
Yeah. Yeah, I have various comments about Alex's clothing, but I don't know if it's really necessary.
Sure.
So where are we?
So Adam got to meet someone, and Bill did not.
And what's up with that? And Miranda also did not, right?
No, Miranda did. Miranda got to meet Joey, and they made out. But
was there somebody else who did?
There was one more in between that did not get to meet. I can't remember who it was though. It was a forgettable character apparently.
Right. Yeah. Also, something I'm wondering whether they did have them meet somebody and they cut it for time.
Yeah,
or maybe because it's a double elimination, so only one. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm thinking they did meet, and they just it was anticlimactic, and they didn't care. So, like,
I was just looking at the other characters. I'm like, who didn't meet? But Antonio met someone, didn't he?
Yes.
So,
Karen, you're frozen. I don't know if you want to. Are you back now?
I'm back.
Okay. Yeah. No, there was someone. I don't know the entire cast. There was someone last week in one of those episodes that did not meet, but whatever. So yeah. I'm thinking it was anticlimactic. So, but that's just my guess. Or maybe they're just like, the rules are you don't have to fucking meet him. So we don't care.
Yeah, that would have been interesting if he just wasn't in meeting somebody.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's ever happened.
So Adam's message. It's Alex, and he did not out Rebecca. So, which Rebecca thinks that's a huge gameplay and advantage for him/her, And so he's decided to play up the sad card, which works on Shuby tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
Shuby is officially heartbroken, but not so much everyone else. They're seeing a chink in the armor here of a pretty well played game by Rebecca up until this point.
And I'm not sure what the switch was, if it was Ed calling him out, or if it was the conversation between Chris and Sammy where they started to put the pieces together and start to wonder if there was something up with it.
I'm thinking it's one of those situations where there's limited conversation between the contestants, and there's so much downtime that you introduce any kind of doubt. It's sometimes perceived as fact. I mean, on Survivor Pro Islands, I don't know what it was, but when we would go to tribal council, every time Lil spoke, I would look at the jury and they just had a disgusted look on their face. I mean, they hated her, and it was palpable. You could see this. And I don't know if the other people weren't looking at the jury because they felt guilty for being somewhat responsible for putting there or what. But we would come back and, the next morning, I'd be like, oh man, no one can beat Lil. Lil would win. No problem. No one can beat Lil. And then, minutes later, you hear conversations. It's just like, well, you can't beat Lil. No one can beat Lil. And I'm just like, really? I'm just like, just the fact that you hear this, it makes it true. And I think it does. So for Ed to introduce to poison the well, I think it spreads.
Well,
yeah, I'm not sure.
Real quick to Joey, Joey, or was it Joey that did the hashtag? What was the hashtag that he used? It was shy or calculated. Yeah,
shy or calculated. Yeah. But it doesn't surprise me that having a new person come in and just a new perspective, right? Because I think because the OG has been, they have been hanging together tight, and just having somebody come in from outside and say, hey, Rebecca doesn't seem quite right to me. And maybe they couldn't put their finger on it before, but when he said it, the fact that, especially Joey just immediately agreed with him. Yeah. So it's not like he brought a lot of evidence and convinced people. It was just that it was clear that these doubts must have already been in their minds on some level. And then just having him say it out loud, then suddenly everybody else gets to say it out loud. I guess kind of like what you're saying on Survivor.
Sure.
And yes, and thanks, BA, that Miranda didn't do a video. That's what it was. I knew that there was something that was out of the norm.
However,
why didn't she get,
however, Miranda did do a video according to post-game press, but it wasn't shown. So, but that's who we were thinking of. She did get to visit Joey, but she didn't do a post-game video that was shown to us, the viewer.
Now, this is Netflix. It's not like they need to get this into a 42-minute slot.
I mean, I know. I think with Bill, there just wasn't enough meat on the bone material-wise. I think they were just like, you know what, this guy ended up being a dud. Why devote any more time to this as necessary? I mean, I really don't feel like they devoted much time to Ed and Tammy.
Well, for good reason.
Ugh, thank God.
I think there was too much time devoted to Ed and Tabby. At one point, I put in my notes, could we just replace them with Boston Rob and Sandra? I mean, it could have been fun to have somebody just kind of do color commentary, especially somebody who comes in new. Yeah. And again, with a new perspective, it could have been very funny or informative. It was neither of those things.
Oh God, they were so painful.
Yeah.
So quick question. This is to me, but I'm going to open up the forum to everyone here. Evan Beardsley, right? Johnny, who from this cast do you think would succeed on Survivor? Shubham. I think Shubham I think he could be that Cochran / Christian character that they're always looking for.
Yeah, we could probably do it.
I don't know. I think maybe it's because of the Boston Rob kind of comparison there, but I think Ed would do well on Survivor. I don't know why he'd have to leave his mom at home, but I could see him because I think Shuby would be like, oh, he's too nice. Everyone's gonna vote for him at the end type deal. Where I think Ed could probably pull off a solid combination of like nice guy and douche and go back and forth between the two. So
I never want to see Ed on anything television related again.
You know what? You keep up with that and you end up on your season of Survivor.
I don't feel as strongly. I feel that strongly about Bill, right? Even though I liked looking at him, I don't see him again on my TV. I mean, Ed was fine. Same thing. If you put him in a Survivor season and he's one of the jocks, he's not any more boring than the average guy they cast in that slot. But yeah, if I was making the decision, I would say Shuby or Joey. I don't know. Would Sammy want to play Survivor?
She does. I don't think. I think this is one of the situations where if you chose to do this show, that you're subtracting yourself from a potential talent pool of Survivor.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. So Evan Beardsley writes, would they have allowed Sean to call out Joey in her parting video, or was it by structure capable of being anonymous?
I think it was designed to be anonymous. And even this whole fact with all of them calling out other people, it never should have happened in the first place. Right? Antonio should never have been allowed to call out Mercedes on his way out.
Yeah.
And I think, right, but you can argue, well, given that he could, shouldn't Sean be able to do that to Joey? But I don't think anybody should be able to do it.
No.
You should live or die by your own game and any mistakes you make, not because somebody else, because of the game structure, somebody gets to meet you in person and then on the way out say, oh, by the way, don't trust this person. It's the same thing like you said in Survivor. Right, they suck your torch. You're supposed to walk away.
Yeah,
there should not be any conversation.
Yeah, Sandra Diaz. I think the same. Yeah, Sandra Diaz Twine.
I'm not saying it's never happened, but I'm saying that's the way it's supposed to be, and I think that should be the way it should be here too. It's really bumming that this is even a problem.
Lotus Pebble writes, I say Shoe Bomb would end up like Vince from 39, third out, immediately forgotten. He's one or the other. He's Vince or he's Christian. He's one of the two.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember also in the beginning, but right, he's that guy that as long as he lasts through the first or second elimination and people get to know him, because I do think he is just incredibly engaging.
Yes. So I mean, he ran for governor of California.
I saw that.
And well, it's mentioned in the article, he finished next to last, but it doesn't matter. His goal, I mean, sure, he would have liked to have won, but he based his campaign on being the first virtual reality mayor or governor or whatever.
It's really interesting. He doesn't do social media, but he's a virtual reality guy. And I know that those are not the same things, but just generally, you would think people who are comfortable with technology would into both or neither. I don't know. Yeah. Well, some of the things we can talk to him about tomorrow.
He's all in on social media now.
Oh, is he?
For the guy that referred to as Social Medusa, he is all in.
Well, I mean, even beyond because obviously before the show, I'm glad that he's on social media. The question is he going to stay active on Twitter, etc.?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he has seen the light.
Is he? I'm trying to look. Did he get verified? He might not have. Yeah, he's verified on Instagram with 72,000 followers.
Yeah, but
he's not going anywhere.
Through his feed, and I feel like such a creeper saying this, but I went and looked through it, and before the show started, I mean, there's a few photos from a couple of years ago, and then it goes back to him when he was 13 or something like that. I mean, it's really a frozen in time social media account. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, he is less than 30,000 followers away from being a real social media influencer.
Sammy's got 100,000 a couple of days ago. I saw that.
She did. Excited. Yeah. So, and good for her. I mean, she's beautiful, and as we learned, she's actually up to 164,000 on Instagram at this point. So
because she was at 100 in the last week, she was celebrating hitting up.
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of people are coming to the circle late.
Yeah,
and that would be Chrissy T.
Whoops, you're going in and out. Sorry, Karen.
I think we lost.
We're all back now.
You're okay. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You went in and out. Yeah, we didn't catch that. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was saying Chrissy Teigen apparently is watching The Circle now. There are a lot of people who are coming to it later. Again, from certainly, some people watched obviously on January 1st, and it's been, I guess, picking up momentum.
Yeah, as I said, that's fun, but it just makes it really hard conversationally on social.
Oh, absolutely.
Frustrating.
But I do think it greatly increases the chance that we're going to get a season 2.
Oh, I think without a doubt, season 2 is a done deal. I don't think there's any chance at this point. I just based on enough trending numbers on Twitter and whatever that it's guaranteed. So the only issue is, have they figured out that the model that they used is completely incorrect?
If they have a season 2, I thought about it this entire time watching it. I don't think it'll ever be the same as what this season was. And I just, I don't know. I see a lot more gameplay, and I wonder if production actually thought that the season was going to turn out like this, because I almost feel, and I have it in my notes, that it started to feel like the Hunger Games almost, where like they were trying to like throw in extra twists just to get people like pissed at each other or start going at each other because they weren't getting that reaction already. But yeah, I think you'll see a lot more strategy and gameplay, mainly because people will figure out what the point actually is to play it. So,
well, I asked Miranda, I slipped into her DMs, and I asked her if she knew, or no, I take that back. I asked her she did an Instagram live chat deal. And I asked her if she knew that she was going to play The Circle when she went to play The Circle. And she was like,
yeah,
like, she goes, what do you mean? Like, did I like, I mean, I went, like, the show was called The Circle. I don't get the question. I'm just like, well, no, did they say that, it's just a reality TV competition vote out show, and you didn't, and it happened to be, being filmed in the UK, or did you know it was The Circle that you were actually going to play? And she's like, oh no, I knew it was The Circle. I was like, okay, did you do preparation for The Circle? Because if I had never seen Survivor before I was cast. So once I was cast, I went on eBay, I ordered every episode, every early show interview in which the people explained why they felt they were voted out, and watched 7 seasons in 3 weeks prior to going out on the island to play a game. So she said she watched 2 episodes and tapped out and then just showed up.
But we hear that all the time though with Survivor, right? That even people, and people are even in sequester, like when they go out for finals casting. So they're already locked up in a hotel room for a week or 10 days, and they give them seasons. And what I've heard is a lot of people still don't watch it. A lot of people never watch a full season of Survivor before they play it. And again, I don't understand that. You have an opportunity like that, to
win $1 million.
Yeah, right. Or even in this case, $100,000.
Yeah.
I could devote a week to prepping for that, but that's just
and you're locked. I mean, during the sequester for Survivor, you are locked in a hotel for 11 days. It's not a week. It's 11 days you're locked in a hotel, and you can't spend that time watching Survivor.
Yeah. And especially now, whatever. It's, you and I we're on the same page on this.
Yeah. So
but a lot of people feel like they'll just come in. So did you press her on this at all? Like, she would wing it, or she just got bored?
No, I just ended the conversation there because we're going to have her as a guest next week. So I figured,
so we'll ask her then. Save
the good shit. But it was disheartening because I think she's so beautiful, and I thought she was fun. And I think that the biggest thing that worked against her was that sarcasm does not translate well via text.
Right. And that's a problem that I have had sometimes even in my own life. Where I would say something, trying to be amusing, and people read it the wrong way.
Most assured. I mean, like my Twitter, I write for every one tweet that you see that's a response tweet or a reply tweet, I'm erasing 30 because I'm just like, this is not going to come off well. It will be misread. It will be misinterpreted. It will be used against me in a court of law.
Right.
Or, I'm wondering too, because Miranda was one of the later people to come into the game. Even if they did have gameplay, like you see with Alex/Adam, if they started to get swayed by the original core, who seemed to be playing a more like to their authentic self, so to speak, if their gameplay kind of went out the window when they came in and they started to see how other people were interacting with one another.
Yeah, I mean, like I think the game, like there's so many seasons of Survivor, Big Brother, all of these reality-based competition shows in which the cast. I mean, if you have a friendly cast, you will more than likely end up with a friendly season. But if you introduce an element like a Jonny Fairplay or a Russell Hantz, to spread cancer throughout Harmony, and that you will get something immensely different.
Well, now,
so this is a good question.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say and granted, maybe it's not the best example, but with the last episode or season of Survivor, it seemed though like there were people that could be the kind of villainous characters, but they were voted out early on. Like, do you think that that maybe there's more of a shift from that villainous character?
I mean, I just think there was possibly one potential villainous character, and that was Ronnie, and he just came off as, to me personally, and once again, probably meet the guy, probably the greatest guy in the world. Editing wise, came off as kind of sleazy, and I think that was the beginning of the end of any villainy.
Yeah.
Karen?
So I've got a question for you, Johnny. Yeah. So then, like, how would you play the circle? Would you come in and try to sow chaos?
Oh yeah, I would come in as Jonny Fairplay, but I would also come in with I would do my damage in private conversations.
Just mean trying to turn people against each other.
Things like that. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I was talking on we did a Survivor draft special Monday night. Myself and Matt Bischoff, Survivor NSFW. We had on the Survivor specialists, and one of the picks from doing the mock draft, I can actually look here. Alexa chose Tony Vlachos, and I mentioned the rumor and innuendo that perhaps Tony would not be trying as hard as we would possibly want to see him play because, as I said, rumor and innuendo, 4 people, Parvati, Boston Rob, Sandra, and Amber, got $200,000 before the game even started just for setting foot on the island. But then, lo and behold, Entertainment Tonight Canada is releasing cast interviews that they did with the cast, and their interview with Tyson is his whole strategy is based on the pregame. So he was explaining to the girl from Entertainment Weekly that he's going into the game saying that approaching players, did you hear that? He goes, I heard, that so-and-so got a call from Aris, who talked to John Finch, who is Parvati's husband, that Parvati refused to play unless she got $200,000 because that's the amount that Sandra and Boston Rob got just for showing up on season 39. And
so you're saying Tyson used this, you're saying same thing to sow discard on the show?
Yes, this was Tyson broke this down and explained that was his strategy going into season 40, throwing these pregame rumors. So this rumor and innuendo about Rob, Amber, Parvati, and Tony Vlachos may not be true whatsoever, and this is all just stemming from these stories that Tyson has put into the water before and during gameplay.
No. Look, Tyson is a great Survivor player. So it almost doesn't matter whether it's true or not for his purposes, right?
No, not at all. Well, no, he's saying he completely made it up.
Right. Oh, so you're saying, so the stories that you had heard might have all just, the origin might be from Tyson, and it might not be true at all?
I would love that to be the case. That would make me so happy if that's where these stemmed from.
Interesting. But back to what you were saying before, so the whole discussion with Tony.
Yeah.
And I did listen to that podcast. You're basically saying that because Tony already got 200K, he's not going to play that hard?
He may not.
See, I don't necessarily. Well, I think Tony should, just because that's his only hope to survive the game. But it's not even about the money for Tony. I don't think Tony's just the kind of guy who wants to win.
Well, I don't know. Then what the hell happened last time? I don't think that was Tony attempting to play the game last time.
I think he shot out a cannon, and it scared people. And obviously, I think the answer to him is to dial it back. I just don't. Tony can dial it back. Anyway, okay. we're going off on a tangent, but
we'll see. So no.
But that would be really interesting if Tyson actually got that rumor out into the universe, not just in the cast, but then the rest of us have heard it.
Yeah, and
hating people.
Yeah. And the key, as he said, was, using other, using Aris, talk to John Fitch, who talked to Parvati, who heard about Boston Rob and Sandra's, but like there's so many degrees of separation that Tyson's just like, I have this into the universe, and then I throw my hands up. Where did this come from? Because there's so many degrees of separation. It's not me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and you have Aris, who didn't even get the call, to be honest, right. that spreading this, that had nothing to do with it whatsoever. I love it. It makes me really happy. So,
as long as it doesn't turn out at some point that he ends up using this to get himself voted out again. Sometimes, he's smart, but sometimes Tyson is a little too smart for his own good. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Yeah. Anyway.
So, well, I drafted him. So
yeah.
I was really happy to see that. So, all right, back to the circle. So we then have Joey loves everyone, even Sean. Mm-hmm. And so we then have the state your case game. And against your biggest rival, I thought this was okay. I thought the following game was anticlimactic, but you have Sean calls out Sammy for being gorgeous and not taking risks, and the circle did not like that. Sammy came back with she came in as herself. Burn. So this is followed by Shuby. He calls out his best friend Joey, but he says as opposed to Joey, he was an influencer 4 times and not just 1. And I felt like this was kind of a Shuby calling back to Survivor, saying, in his final jury speech, "Hey, I won immunity 4 times. You won it 1 time. Give me the $1 million."
Right. I'm not sure it works that way in the Survivor. In the circle.
Yes. Rebecca calls out Ed. Chris calls out Shuby for knowing how to play the game.
Right.
No scratching back from Shuby, of course, because Shuby's nice. Ed calls out Rebecca, saying she's not 100%. Joey calls out Rebecca for being shy or calculated. And then ranking now comes down to after this game we get a follow-up alert saying that the ranking now has number 1 as a super influencer.
Right.
Yes.
Can I just take a step back before we go? Because I've tried to write down all these ratings, and it's almost impossible. I just find it incredibly annoying that we don't know in each case how everybody ranked each other. And I understand it might be bad TV, but release a chart. Or I'm thinking about like with Survivor, how at the end of the episode when people are doing final words, we get to see.
Sure. I think they should. They should show that during the credits.
Whatever it is, but somehow let us know for those of us who really want to understand what happened. Because I still can't understand how the ratings that we were able to see ended up with Joey winning. I just don't. I mean, obviously it happened, but I don't understand who voted for him for that to happen.
I have a little glimpse with the text, so I'll be able to help a little bit. But no, I think I understand not showing us going, before the reveal because it's anticlimactic if we see that. However, after the reveal, during the credits, just have it it doesn't have to be a whole drawn out thing. You do a split screen just like we have here. And if you would like to see, you press the pause button.
Right.
So
again, this is Netflix. Should not be that hard to do.
No. As I said, I think it's stuff that that they're just like, well, you wouldn't show that before because it ruins the suspense. And it's just like, yeah, but you can show it after for people that I would take a second, I would pause, and it would just give me an idea going forward where these people's heads are at, possibly going into the next vote, instead of every vote going, I really don't know what the fuck they think.
Right.
Do they do that on the UK show? I know you said last week that there was like a live portion, but they don't show the rankings?
We didn't see all of them. We might have seen a little bit more, but no, we definitely don't see all of it. Yeah. And I would like to see all of it.
Yeah. As I said, I mean, it doesn't have to, we don't have to, it can be on the screen for a total of 5 seconds. It's one of those deals where you press pause if you would like to see.
I'd probably still be there trying to figure out the math. Like, wait a minute, put this here. Where's this going here? Yeah, but no, for those of the people that can do averages and add, that would probably be useful for them.
Yeah, I mean,
not even to go back and but just say who's everybody else's number one.
Sure.
Really, the first thing I want to see is who's everybody's number one, who's everybody's last choice, because that's going to become relevant later, and we don't get to see that anyway.
Marcy Isaacson, I 100% don't trust these votes. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I would like to think that the voting is. I mean, I don't feel there's anything to gain by changing. I mean, let's say the votes are honest. If they change the votes to protect Bill, is the show a better show? I don't think so.
Right. I would say certainly if they were ever going to do it, it would have been to save Sean, because the whole thing with her, maybe we're jumping the gun here, but there's certain situations in which if you were going to save somebody, I'm sure they have ways of doing it. Yeah. But I don't necessarily. That's not what I think is going on. I just think that they have not thought this through, like you said, they've done such a poor job in many ways of explaining to us what the heck is going on.
That they don't care. Why would they care about this?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Why would they care about who's voting for who when we didn't even tell them how you win the game?
Yeah. So no, I mean, there's just lots of. I mean, as I said, I hope this is one of a trial and error thing, and and they're open to taking suggestions and criticisms.
Well, there were huge differences. I mean, not huge differences, but between season 1 and season 2 of the UK version, mostly more of a difference with the TV product. Like there were live shows every Friday, but they've certainly been able to learn and grow. And we talked about this last week, that they went from this rating system, a 5-star rating version, to a ranking.
Yeah.
So again, these problems are not insurmountable if they're willing to tweak the formula.
Sure. Okay. So any other thing before we go to the super influencer voting?
No, other than as Joey's going through his reasonings, once we get there, I was just like, he's loyal to everybody. I'm like, when is he going to say, this is the person I'm going to vote for? He just, as always, has nothing bad to say about anyone.
Yeah. Karen, anything you'd like to add before we?
Once again, you always ask me a question about what I think just when you two have gone frozen for 15 seconds. I don't know what the question was.
Okay. Anything before we go to the super influencer thing with Joey?
No, I'm saying let's go there.
Okay. Okay. So So Joey wins. He's ranked number 1. He becomes a super influencer. Now, I think this one Joey earned. I said last week I felt the first influencer position that Joey got, I felt was a pity vote. That they kind of felt bad that he's a nice guy, but I didn't feel that he had earned it, but they're just like, hey, everybody else has got to do it. It kind of got the retirement gold watch. It's like, okay, you get to be an influencer one time too. But I think since then that his perception, and it may just be my perception as a viewer, but I feel that as a viewer, I'm also seeing what they're seeing in the house, in that I think his perception to them is just like, this guy isn't, the fucking Jersey Shore douchebag. There's another peel the onion. There's a good guy that genuinely fucking loves everyone in the house. And, and instead of this pity vote for an influencer, it's, what? Gosh darn it. You deserve it. So I feel that this one and even the one before, those were merited votes. And I just think that character has evolved by stripping away the douchebagginess that he entered the house with.
And I disagreed with you last week about it being a pity vote. That didn't make any sense to me. But what you're saying now makes sense. It's that as your perception of Joey has changed, the first time he won, you're like, it's a pity vote because it's just impossible that these people would really like this guy. Whereas now that you like Joey more, because now, of course, everybody likes Joey.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I feel that the editors are telling us the story that they're telling us the story that we're not completely getting. So I think if I'm realizing this as a viewer, that's what I should be realizing that's happening in the house. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I feel that's the story they're telling. And, as I said, maybe I'm overreading.
Well, no, you had an instantaneous reaction to this Jersey Shore caricature, which I understand, but I guess I didn't feel that nearly as strongly.
Yeah. I think that perception is it's universal for people outside of the Jersey Shore, more so than not, perhaps.
Oh, you're saying the stereotype definitely has a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I don't know. I've seen the Jersey Shore, and I guess I can see where you're drawing. Well, I mean, I can definitely see where you're drawing the comparison.
They're all the same person, Marni.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was on Team Joey way before this chunk of episodes, and maybe even before last week. I think it was just his affection and relationship with Shuby, and I think I said it at some point that when Shuby first won influencer, Joey's reaction was like out of a scene in Lucas, like,
oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. So I think I never saw him as a pity vote there, but I think I agree that maybe his quality points maybe weren't shown to everyone in the house until, the last few episodes, but I, as a viewer, liked him much earlier than that.
Sure. And I get that. As I said, I felt, to me, as a viewer, I felt the perception of Joey was more of a joke earlier than it turned in. I think at this point of the game, when he becomes super, there is genuine affection from the entire group.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't surprised when he won.
Yeah. So and I was happy. I mean, he won me over at this point of the show. He's won me over. I'm just like, the guy wears his heart on his sleeve. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like I still feel he's a simpleton. And I think words are difficult for him. I think anything that comes out of his mouth that's not a cliche is a lot of work. But other than that, I think he's great.
Yeah. And also, I wonder, in terms of your turnaround, and a lot of people have turned around on Joey, so it's not just you, but I wonder, part of the reason also that you're turning around on him is the interactions we've had with him in the intervening time between last week and this week. That you put out that tweet basically saying something that, we're talking about people we like Sammy and Miranda, and people we like less, like Joey. And he came and he came back and he said, it's all good. Talking about the show, I'm happy. Now I'm really,
yeah.
In retrospect, it's easier for him to do that because he won, right? Makes it easier to be gracious. But I think that might have been him regardless.
I think that's him. I think
he's just not going to take it personally, no matter what.
Win, lose, or draw. Like he was just happy to be mentioned. I think, as I said, you strip away the buddy, and all that. I think genuinely, just super nice guy, just ridiculously nice. So no, he won me over. So at this point, where we are at this point in the show, I'm all, I'm not rooting for him to win, but I'm not rooting against him.
Right.
I mean, I still at this point, I'm still Sammy and Shuby. Either one, I'm happy.
Yeah. The one thing that he did that I didn't like was this right now, the decision to block Sean. And I'm not saying it wasn't a good game move. Maybe it was. But the fact that Sean, shared, the picture, and she said specifically that she was expecting some people like Joey to give her a hard time on social media if she came in as herself, right? And he said all the right things when she shared the picture. But when he had a chance, open season, you can block anybody and you don't have to justify it.
Anonymously.
He decides to send her up. Right. Yeah. Although he decided to not make it anonymous, which I found interesting. We'll discuss that, I'm sure, later. But she does seem to think when they are, when they, she has to go and she makes it worse by the fact that he can't just block her, but he has to block her in person. And maybe he wasn't expecting that. But Sean certainly seemed to think that it was because of the photo. And Joey wanted us to believe very much it was.
I don't think it was. I think I criticized him at this point in that I think a strategic game move, you go after your biggest threat and you do it anonymously, and it's like
that's what Tammy said. I found that interesting. You always talk about how useless Ann and Tabby were, but there were a few times where Tammy actually had some good insights.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was 100% the move, no doubt about it.
But you think that Joey blocked Sean because he thought that Sean was his biggest competition?
No,
I don't think that's true.
No, I think he went exact opposite strategy.
Right.
He made the move to vote out. Like I think he made the move that showed his loyalty to the core people, and that was it. He just wanted to show loyalty. It wasn't a strategic move in that of going after direct competition. It was just to show that he is the loyal guy that the rest of the house thinks he is. And for that, I applaud because it was a better, I go the opposite route. He is obviously playing a smarter game than I would, because that was obviously the better play.
I would have been happier if he had blocked Ed. I mean, if he's going for loyalty, then it would have been very easy to just say Ed's the last guy in, first guy out. But I do agree with his decision not to. Well, I agree with. There's two different ways, like you said, of dealing with, of analyzing this. If he does want to show loyalty to the OGs, then getting rid of either Sean or Ed was a move. Although I would have preferred Ed. But like you said, there's another argument where, because it is anonymous, go in there. Who do you think your biggest competition is? It prohibited, and it's anonymous, and you have to do it, and then you don't then feel guilty and publicize it. Obviously, I mean, I feel like, again, this is just a surprise because this is Joey. Joey hard on his sleeve, right? He couldn't bear to keep the secret, but obviously that could have been a very bad move if he had.
He can't bear to keep any secret. So even if he had made the strategic move, got rid of Shuby, and agreed to do it anonymously, not told anyone, the next morning he would tell everyone.
Yeah.
I don't think
he felt guilty
enough of the thought behind it, because I feel like if we were on Survivor, we would have seen confessionals where they were like, oh, this is my strategic gameplay and this is why I'm choosing. Like, it was just kind of like fade to black, this is who I'm cutting. And then there wasn't really any explanation on any deep level, I don't think, as to why they did it. I mean,
Right.
I would have liked to see more of the reasoning behind what they did.
Well, I think the problem with that is they don't have a producer-led diary room Q&A versus a just stream of consciousness thought that we're reliant upon the contestant to provide us.
Right.
True.
And that generally works pretty well. So maybe this is a reaction that I, in terms of I'm sensitive to, what Sean did and what she's been through. And given that Joey did not explain to us why he was blocking her, then I guess it was easy for my mind to go to kind of the worst possible reason.
Yeah. I didn't go that route. I mean, like, I guess I could have. I was just like, man, I'm just like, this motherfucker's playing a loyal game and he's fucking showing everybody. I'm just like, that ain't my style.
Yeah. And I think he appreciated the fact that Sean came clean, but I think he had already indicated beforehand that he was like bros with Ed. They had like the same Italian background and everything.
Yeah.
So there was a little more loyalty, I guess, to Ed than to Sean, even though if he did appreciate what she went through.
And Ed paid him compliments.
Yes.
Joey is very persuaded by compliments.
I'm still confused why Joey voted off Miranda, though. Like, that was one I don't know if you guys touched upon in the last episode. But I know we were still like, wait a minute, why if he had this great connection with her, did he vote her? But that's his only vote that I was a little perplexed by. But unless he just wanted a kiss, in which case, way to go. So
I don't think he thought it that far through, but God bless him. We'll get to the kiss. So okay, so Joey had to do it. Had to block face to face. Chris wants to lock the door, which I thought was funny. Joey chooses Sean, weak choice, not what I perceive as a game-winning move when you have a chance to anonymously block. So, but we did see this is Joey's second face-to-face interaction. And although he does get a second hug, he gets one and then goes in for a second hug. He shockingly did not go in for the kiss. just putting it out there. We know that this is when Joey makes the move. He sat this one out. So
well, Sean has a boyfriend, so maybe she would have said no anyway.
There you go. So
but yeah.
we then see Joey and Rebecca make peace, and it's funny because these are the exchanges that made me grow fond of Joey, because Joey reaches out. He's just like, hey, I just want you to know that it's me, you, and Shuby. I got your back. You're his sister, I'm his brother. But then we have to get the follow-up to us, the viewer, from Joey. But if I had my choice, I wouldn't want you to be the sister, and I wouldn't want.
Yeah, it was the first time I saw him, because he does have a conversation with Rebecca. He says, "Oh, you're Shuby's girl. I'm Shuby's boy. I want the three of us to go to the end together." But then he says to us, "That's what I need to say right now to get to the next stage." Yeah. Bought it hook, line, and sinker. But Joey, for the first time that I saw, is really starting to think strategically.
Yeah,
and who does he want to be at the end with? And he doesn't want necessarily to be there with Rebecca.
I think it took him seeing the finish line to kick himself into game mode. I think if he saw the finish line a little sooner, he doesn't make that same decision on voting out Sean. I think he does go after a target, but I don't think he's mentally in game mode until I think it just hits him. He's like, oh shit, the end of the game.
Right. Well, I'm trying to think. So they told them officially that they're not that was coming in, but that happened. I don't remember if that happened before or after Sean went home, but it was relatively recent. Because we discussed this last week.
I think it. Real quick, Sean says people are still keeping secrets, which I was just like, that was whatever. They do the name game or whatever that was. That was the most boring thing thus far in the show. But then it's announced these are the final ratings. No influencers. You pick the winner, and I think that's I think going into that is just Joey's just like, oh shit. We're playing.
We're all like, oh shit. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, oh, okay. I was ready for another 2 hours here. You just put the gas on here, and it's like, okay, all gone. So yeah.
Right. And they did it with 6 people left, which they have never done before. Now, in this
so
case, they still had
on the UK, they go to Final 4, correct?
Final 4 in the first season, Final 5 in the second.
Correct.
And again, this season is tracking the UK season 2 very, very closely. Okay. So that's why I was surprised it was 6, but they still had 5 at that final dinner.
Yeah, I think they were worried. My official guess was this was a production call so that we could get those live interactions between Shoebomb and Rebecca.
You're saying that's why they did the final ratings at 6?
That personal guess. No, based on no fact until anything else. I think they're worried if they don't get that moment and even that moment extended to the others, that they're really missing. They'd lose out on some valuable TV that they don't have if he just goes. If they don't have the round table, the inner circle at 5.
Right. Well, I told you last time I thought that the inner circle was going to be the 5, and we were right.
Yeah.
Right. That was not surprising to me.
Yeah. So we go to Lois Block immediately, and thank God it's Ed because he sucked.
Why was his mom crying? I did not get that in any way, shape, or form. I was like, why are you all upset about leaving?
She's got kind of a white trash vibe to me, and white. Sorry, Ed, and your mom.
I know. Sorry, the nice person coming out here. I'm like, stop it. See, this is why I would never be on Survivor.
Yeah, but I live in Danville, Virginia, so I see the beauty of white trashness daily, and it's one of those deals where like you have the little teen beauty pageant or the little girl beauty pageant or whatever, and the girl doesn't win, and you have the white trash mom is just like, they just want our money anyway. This is some bullshit. I know my kid's prettier than yours, and fuck you and fuck you. So I thought it was one of those moments.
Tammy didn't go quite that far, but Tammy, she saw, maybe she did see the end. She saw the money. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those white trash. And God bless her. I thought it was the highlight of her being in the house. There's some bullshit up in here.
I think because she was starting to get real vicious is the word that comes to mind, but she was starting to really get into the voting, and you could just see her getting kind of crouched up and tense in the shoulders, ready to attack people. And so I don't know, she got real amped up at the end there too, but I was just like,
yeah, I think it would have been really interesting to see Tammy play without Ed.
I didn't want to see either one of them play.
I'm not saying, but I did see enough from Tammy. There was some kernel of good gameplay in there. I'm not sure Ed has any of that.
Yeah, there you go. Marcy Isaacson calls it, that was just Philly. Sadly, Ed and Tammy represented us accurately. There you go. See, white trash comes in many forms. There's Philly white trash and there's Danville, Virginia white trash. They're very comparable. So there's Florida white trash. That's what.
No, that's a whole different level.
There's the inability to grow facial hair like Boston Rob. It's very beautiful.
Philly used to have the pretzels on the street, but no longer. So that Florida doesn't really have much in the redeeming, quality there. So
and we know Shuby don't know Philly.
That's definitely true.
Yes.
That's definitely true.
So here we are.
Ed's gone.
So
Ed's gone. Now, just one something I was bring up, and maybe I'll have to ask her tomorrow. Why is Sammy hiding under the sink?
Because she didn't want to admit that flirting was fake because she had a boyfriend. I thought it was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a funny scene. So.
Yeah, because you're right. That's probably the only reason. Because I wasn't sure why Ed did pick Sammy as opposed to say somebody like Joey, and that's probably why he wanted to hit on her, and that's why I guess when he walked in, like the first thing she said was, "I have a boyfriend."
Yep, and I am willing to bet that Joey and Ed had the conversation about the kiss, so Ed was going to get his kiss.
It's really possible.
I don't know. I didn't
with his mom there.
I didn't think she was that flirtatious with him. Like I didn't think she treated him any.
Well, she admits her strategy was flirting and then bringing them in and then friend zoning them. Yeah. So no, she openly admitted that was her strategy and that she almost like a Black Widow type thing.
No, I mean, and I know she admitted it. I just didn't think it was as obvious or like as the guys trying to be fake and flirtatious. I don't know. Maybe that's just how guys roll. They're not very, subtle on the whole thing. But like, I didn't think she needed to crawl under a sink. Yes, it was cute and adorable, but like, it was that bad.
I think what she texted versus her to the viewer were easily perceived as two totally different things. Yeah. Like with a guy, like, if a girl texts you, hey, can I borrow some cereal? And it's just like, ooh, anal? Like, there's just a mental translation. It's just like, wow, where did that come from?
That says more about guys, I think, than it says about women. But anyway.
Yeah. So I think Sammy knows enough about men that she's just like, us as viewers, her saying very little, she's like, oh, that meant plenty to them, I assure you. I said more than enough to get them hot and heavy in thought, and then cool it down with some good old friend zone water spray.
Right.
Is that going to
be? But hey, it worked.
What's that?
Is that going to be your next sponsor? Friend Zone Water Spray.
Friend Zone Water Spray. I would imagine that is a shitty sponsorship. So, but but I still welcome them, of course. So, it's 2020.
Women would buy that. Guys wouldn't, but women would buy that. Right?
Yeah, Friend Zone Water.
Yeah, you've got some guy who thinks for some reason he thinks that you've been flirting with them, and
which was like every
pull that down right
now. It was so amusing because every guy would comment like, oh yeah, I got this in the bag. And then on the other end, it was the girls like, God,
with the gagging voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was every single guy that thought that, but that's like a whole other conversation. So.
Yeah. And Karen, you're just like, does he really think he's going to get the kiss with his mom? I think he purposely went in without his mom going, hey, give me a minute to get this kiss. And then I wouldn't be surprised if he was there for, maybe 5, we don't get 5 minutes of footage, but he's potentially there for 5 minutes. And, it's just like, oh, fuck, just hurry up and send in my mom. This girl ain't kissing me. She's 3 seconds in, I got a boyfriend. Potential marriage material. He proposed. I said, as I was getting the plane, the second I get off, I'm saying I do. Just anything that you need to hear to do not attempt the kiss because I know you talked to Joey.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So let's see. So then we get the messages that the people that didn't get the messages from their loved one, 2 days in, when it's very crucial to get a message from your loved one, they finally get them. And honestly, how cool. I mean, like, as good as those messages were before, I felt like it worked out that the best messages were saved here at the end. And we got Shuby's message from Daddy. And I thought it was one of the cutest moments of the show. Yeah. Considering they're both fans of mine, which goes a long way with determining whether it's a good moment or not.
No, but his dad is adorable.
Oh my
His dad
God.
is absolutely adorable.
Well, Daddy. I just love it. So, and then next we get Chris's mom, which was not disappointed. Lots of prayers coming out from one side and to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal that we hear for Chris is to get mommy her back teeth. So that was nice and kind. So, and it turns out, it was a little more than a joke, and, as further explained, during the quote unquote reunion special. Yeah. So, and then lastly, we see Rebecca, who is perhaps really named Sammy.
Yeah, I thought that also. That was weird.
Yeah. And
I'm not surprised that it's not her name, because again, like, this was the same in the UK. Alex played as, he played, the character he played was Kate, but his girlfriend's name was actually Millie. So they used the pictures, changed the name. So that didn't surprise me. But Sammy is not that common a name. That was really weird.
What are the odds? So, but she was equally as beautiful as the pictures, if not more so. Yeah. There is rumor and innuendo on social media as of last week, based on Seaburn's Instagram account. There's very few pictures of him and Rebecca / Sammy, that perhaps that they were not boyfriend and girlfriend, and just a model that he had done some work with. I think is he from Chicago? Yeah, so maybe
I heard that also, but having seen them interact, I kind of believe it.
I mean,
either that or
I'm
not saying, oh my gosh, this must be true, just look at them, but I felt that there was some kind of a connection. Either that or she's a very good actress.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like she said so much for being gone for so little. It's just like, oh my God, we miss you. Like, the house is falling apart. We don't know. And it's just like, it's day 4.
Well, they've been away for what at this point? About, like, they've probably been home from like 3 weeks, away from home for 3 weeks. Like, they've been in the house for at this point 14 or 15 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I read this, but I did see something. I think I guessed last week that, given the UK seasons were 3 weeks, that this was about 2 weeks. And I did see confirmation in one of these articles that it was 15 days.
Okay. Because it feels like this could have been filmed in 7 days.
Yeah. I don't know.
I hear you.
I did think when she came on, like, I was waiting for her to say, like, the grandma died or something. Like, it felt very dramatic for just like
for a brief period of time.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, why would he make up having a relationship with her
to get on the show?
Oh,
it makes the story better than I'm using a picture of a girl that I've done some modeling work with.
Oh.
Right. I mean, they already had other people doing that, and if they did want to, because again, this was something that was done, in the UK, and he was a very popular character. So they probably wanted to. I think I was not surprised that they had a guy playing his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I said, they saved the best from home videos for last, and so we find out alert, and no drum roll. Thank God. I feel like the drum rolls ended last week. So, and we find out that it is one last group chat, except this one's face to face in the inner circle, and we will have this before the final ratings. Chris's outfit is fabulous.
Yes,
the makeup is on fleek, as the kids say. But we see that Shuby is the first one in his oatmeal suit, of course. And he is so happy. There's nothing.
I mean, he's just like, oh, this room. Like, I'm like, he is never not polite. I mean,
yeah.
Shuby's always happy. Have we ever seen Shuby not be happy?
No. If you lie or dishonest, he is not happy. He does not like dishonesty. So no.
Okay,
no, he sees the room, and like I thought the inner circle was kind of a shithole. Like I was just like, this is, like what you didn't spend the budget here. I'm just like, it's just a fucking round table with a black tablecloth, you know, and some shitty olives.
Yeah, you know, the room was nice. You know,
yeah,
but
I don't think it was like Shuby made it out to be the fucking Taj Mahal, and it was not. So, but he's sitting there, and it's just like nothing can bring this kid down. He is so happy, and the whole time I'm thinking, I'm just like, Rebecca's got to be last. Like, you know, that's the moment her walking, and then when Rebecca / Seaburn is next, I'm just like, oh my God, did they fuck this up? And no, they did not.
Yeah, because
the one-on-one interaction between the two of them was the big moment of the show. Right. And I'm just like, man, they did that shit exactly right. And then you get the reaction with everyone else, you know, seeing, you know, it's just like, what, Chris? Right.
Well, and especially because I believe that Sammy, Chris, and Joey all had expressed reservations about Rebecca by the end. So clearly, I'm sure they put a lot of thought into this about in which order they come in.
Yeah, well, it's like on Survivor when, you know, peek behind the curtain, when Jeff says, I'll collect the votes, you know, 40 minutes later, Jeff comes back with the votes because they are putting them in the correct order to build the most suspense for the viewer.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But,
so what did you think of that moment when Shuby finally met the real Rebecca?
It was... I think it was kind of a letdown because I feel that I felt Shuby was betrayed, and I think he's too good a person to express it. And so
even if he betrayed, though, I think he.
Whoops! You went in and out, Karen.
Okay. Now you're going in and out.
Okay. You're good.
I feel like, yes, it was a betrayal, but Shuby understands that this is a game, and, you know, somebody could be a catfish. This was a risk he took, and he got, and he was a good sport.
I wish that they had it where Rebecca Seaborn was voted out, and he had come to the room, and they'd had like a more private moment. Like, I would have been curious to see what Shuby's reaction would have been then, without also having the anticipation of all these other people coming into the room. But that was just my take on it. So
I feel there was the betrayal because, like, you know, in the follow up, like everyone keeps expressing, I'm so glad you were real. I'm so glad you were real. I'm so glad you were real. And I feel like Shuby means it even more than anyone else, you know, not for the sake of sanity, just for the sake of honesty. Like, you know, the others are just like, oh my God, like, you know, I just felt like I was going paranoid. Whereas Shuby wants everyone to be honest. And I think it hurt him, and I think he just didn't want to. I think he didn't want to make a scene. You know,
well, he did also say something in that conversation where Shuby said that he asked himself. He said about halfway through the game, he said, "I asked myself if I knew that one of these people was a catfish, would it have made a difference?" Yeah. And I'm saying that's the same thing that happened in the UK. That there was a contestant that by the end people had strong opinions that they may very well have not been who they thought they were, but they decided they didn't care. They liked this person well enough, and now they're probably a catfish, and who cares? So Shuby, at least, or maybe now you're saying maybe he's doing this now to cover up his own real feelings. I don't know. Yeah. But that's at least what he says in the moment.
Sure.
I didn't feel like there was a lot of
for whatever it's worth
between them at the reunion. Like, you know, you could definitely see the camaraderie, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit between him and Joey, but I didn't feel that same way between him and Seaborn.
Rebecca. Yeah, no, I think he just like as I said, I think he was betrayed, and I think we got a more honest reaction at the reunion than we did at the Inner Circle dinner.
It's possible. We'll definitely ask him about it tomorrow. I mean,
sure.
What he says, you know, what he says now might be different from what he says then, but yeah.
So, we did learn that Schuburn referred to himself early in the game as Sharky Shubham, the catfish hunter. So,
yeah, he said that he's hunting catfishes, rats, snakes, and rats, which also was one of those things that made me think he was a Survivor fan.
Yeah.
So I remember that quote.
Yeah. Marcy Isaacson says he was too shocked, and now that he's had time to really digest it, he's hurt as fuck.
Certainly possible. He still also might get over it.
Yeah, his reaction, Sean, was the harshest. There's no way he wasn't devastated by Rebecca. It's true.
Yeah, you're right. He does not like people who lie.
Yeah.
Right.
So there we go. So next we have Sammy coming to the room. Doing a quick mathematics drill. We realize that she is the only girl in the final 5. And as we learned at the beginning of the show, people assumed that it was to be a girl, it would be easier in the house, much like it is on social media. And apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah. So we then learn, because I don't know if we heard this earlier. She might have talked about it when she was talking about the working with the autistic children, that Sammy is working on her master's. So not just a pretty face. There's brains in that face as well. So good on you, Sammy. So I think
that was pretty clear to me from the beginning. I mean, even before I didn't know anything about her academic background, whatever. But she's smart.
No, she was great. I mean, she had the cuteness of maybe from Arrested Development, early seasons, not later seasons. But she also, I felt she had the acumen of maybe from Arrested. Maybe was always the smartest person in the room, except when she, outwitted herself most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't think the maybe comparison was just based on looks alone. I thought there was, she was a total package. Fourth out, we have Chris once again, just looking fabulous. Absolutely,
of course. Chris always looks fabulous.
More. I mean, I love Chris. Like, I am ready to go to his church, his motivational speaks, whatever.
Sure.
But he was always in third, and I guess maybe you guys touched on it last week where you said as the viewer we're seeing more expression and everything behind what he's saying, but I could not sit there and hear people say, yeah, I'm just not sure where he stands. I'm like, how could they not see that he was just a genuine awesome?
Yeah, I felt we got everything he stood for.
Yeah.
Right. But we have a lot more cues than these people.
Sure.
I want to go back and turn off the volume and just watch the text messages and see if I could go back and feel the same way.
That's the thing. I was talking to my friend earlier. He's a few episodes behind as we were about to record. He was expressing his disgust with the production's ability to tell us what the fuck the game is. What are the rules? What are they actually, because he was just so the game is not who's the catfish. He goes, I think they figured that out. He goes, but is the game who is the best texter? And if that is the game who is the best texter, isn't Chris by far and away the best texter? Because it seems like he is.
Well, but if people feel like they didn't really know him, then he's not the best texter, right? He did enough to stay, and to not get blocked. And at a certain point, just being an OG, right, and being loyal to the OGs, they're going to drag him along till the end. But I guess the only person we saw him really get close to was Mercedes. And then beyond that, did we really see him forming any real deep bonds with anybody? Because I can't remember. So I think that's why he ended up in the middle. That's my guess why he was always in third.
I felt him and Sammy were BFFs, kind of.
Yeah, and even
he got
said that it wasn't that she wasn't sure where he stood. But yeah, I agree that it would have seemed like they would have been tight.
Yeah. So, but but at the same time, I felt like Sammy kind of kept her guard up at all times as well. But I think
I think Chris did too. We didn't really hear anything about his background, and obviously there were chats that we were not privy to.
Sure.
But it's like what we talked about last time, though. The way to really win the circle is to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know that Sammy or Chris did much of that at all.
I don't think so. So, well, out last we have Joey, and Joey was happy. Well, real quick, when Sammy came out, she did. She said she was going to pinch Shuby's ass. I felt like she did, but we didn't get a good camera angle of it, and I'm very very upset with production on that. We will confirm with Shuby tomorrow night on that.
My vote is no. There was no tweakage of the butt there.
That's your vote? Okay. Well, she acted because she admitted she was just like, that was my plan, and so, but anyway, so we go to the live, and anything on Joy's showing up or we get to go to the reunion.
I think we're good.
Okay. So the reunion, I still don't like Eddie and Tammy. Nothing's changed.
Right.
I could go without hearing IRL.
Yes.
Ever again.
I was like, dude, just stop. I'm like, you sound like, I mean, I don't know how old the host is, but all I wanted to scream was boomer. I don't know. I was just like, knock it off. Like, stop.
Well, it was one of those deals where I feel like they felt the show was like, we're doing a show about social media, so we're going to be cool and use the verbiage. And when I watched the show, like, yes, that's the recurring platform throughout it. I didn't think about technology. I just thought about the interactions between, like, I thought they did such a good job of interacting that the bullshit, social media preface of the show wasn't really a factor. No. So I think this live reunion show is just like, here was our intent, and they didn't nail that intent. So they just misguessed the vibe of the room immensely. They're just like, yeah, you've been watching this tech show for 11 episodes, and we're gonna give you all the cool text terms.
I mean, maybe they misunderstood where like their audience was at, and I don't know. But then that's like a deep analytical thought there, maybe more than the show needs, but
yeah. Oh, also though, speaking of the audience, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but so in the UK again, season 2, this is the same studio, the same room that they used, and they had a live show, like I said at the beginning, and I guess every Friday there were 4 or 5 live shows.
Sure.
In those cases, though, there were lots of crowd shots. In this case, we heard the cheering and the yelling. Do you think that was added in? I think that was added in.
No, I think the crowd consisted of production staff.
Right, something like that, but they did not have an actual live audience.
Because the crowd would have no idea who the people were. They hadn't watched the show. They're not gonna be like, hey, we're gonna do a live show. We're recording on the 27th of November. We're gonna do this live show. If you'd like to be a part of the studio audience, we need you to come in for 3 days in a row to watch these episodes. So then you'll know what the fuck we're talking about the live show and give genuine reactions.
Well, or they could just get people, because I get these notices also from sealers, and trust me, there are people who will come and just show up and scream, even if they have no idea what's going on, because I don't feel like that is necessarily a barrier. But you're right, the difference is in the UK, because it is being done in real time, that people have been following the show.
Yeah.
And so you put it right, then they can actually be enthusiastic.
Yeah, and also, so how much time do you think? So the show was filmed in real time in the UK from start to finish.
Basically, like I said, it was a 2 to 3 day lag, similar in Big Brother.
Okay,
that, a conversation that happens today is going to air on Friday or Saturday, but basically more or less in real time.
Okay, so because this appeared, this had the vibe of they filmed the show. Anyone that was voted out, they kept them in sequester, and then either the night of the inner circle, like that night they did the reunion show, or the next day at the latest, because like I think there's nothing more than just a wardrobe change, but like for me, I could sense Shuby was just still in just like, what is fucking going on in this? Like they're still just like, I have not yet integrated back into real life. IRL.
Oh yeah, no, they were still in sequester, and in the UK again, what they did is they keep them in sequester, but then every Friday they would trot out all the eliminated players, which was interesting, and then they would kind of get their takes on it. So that was fun.
Yeah.
No, there definitely was something off in that reunion show, and you might be right. Maybe they had just gotten sprung like right then, but yeah, it had a weird
vibe. The fact that you never saw not one crowd shot the entire, like you think they could have grabbed a crowd shot from the UK, just to have it.
Right.
Still from this video right here.
So no, I think it was just people in production. So they're sitting there with their fucking whatever the name of the studio's t-shirt, whatever. So I think they weren't. I think there wasn't enough of them to fill the audience, and B, they didn't look the part of a studio audience. Right,
like you said, you need 60 or 70 people who are kind of dressed up to go out.
Correct. So I don't think so. So that I think the biggest letdown of the show, other than not explaining us how the fucking show worked, was the reunion. Just had a weird vibe that I didn't like it. I thought it was the worst part of the show was the reunion.
Like, I thought they were going to play up the Miranda and Joey thing a little bit more. They mentioned it, and they made some weird comment like alluded to them making out backstage. I don't even know what that was. But
and the host, like, she would ask a question, and like the contestant would give what felt like 7/8 of the answer, and then she would cut them off.
Yeah, it was almost like they were doing like live television on CBS or something like that, and they didn't have the time. It was weird. This entire like last chunk of shows just felt very rushed for some reason. So
it felt disjointed from the other.
Yeah, it was rushed until they started the process of the end game, right? And then it just went on forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I felt like the whole episode 11 could have been much shorter.
Yeah, I felt episodes 1 through 8 were a better show on the whole as 9 through 12.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would agree.
And I feel that 9 and 10 go with the other 8, although again at that point they do start to kind of speed up.
Yeah,
and then they suddenly hit the brakes.
Yeah,
it was. I still enjoyed the show, but you're right.
I did too. I don't hate like I get messages and I see comments. It's just like, Fairplay, I think you would have liked the show more and stuff like that. I enjoyed the show. I'm glad it was made. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad there's a Shuby in my life. I mean, heck, they're probably going to announce tomorrow Shuby will be at Hearts of Reality in August. Like, how cool is that? So, I thought this was a good television experience. There's just a couple personal qualms that I have, and it feels like you guys are in agreement. And I don't think that we're talking out of turn or saying things that probably the majority of people feel.
Yeah.
So,
and they're things that are easy to fix.
Yeah. I love this show. I thought it was great. Yes, I thought maybe the last chunk was a little bit disjointed, but I don't know, especially coming off the last season of Survivor, like it felt really refreshing. Like I was like,
yeah,
humanity is back. Like I felt like Matt when he was all happy and doing the happy dance when they stopped having deep conversations on the show and then they like smacked him down the next week. But
Just kidding, guys.
I just I really enjoyed it, and I don't think the feel of this season is going to be duplicated in the future. Like I said earlier, I actually would like to go on this show. I think it would be fun, like to kind of try to be sneaky and do all the gameplay if I was ever pointed in the right direction of what the gameplay was. But I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Well, they are already now opening up casting that basically you can express your interest now. When you start Circle Casting website, but is back up. And so if you are interested,
well, there we go.
Sign up. I already have.
And say I have a boyfriend or girlfriend or something like that just to woo the producers. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So we did get the recurring line of as Marcy Isaacson is showing us here. We got the receipts. We kept going back to we got the receipts, and it was just like, the host. I felt like I was watching Joey at the beginning say, "Yeah, buddy," like every eighth word, and we got the receipts, and IRL replaced that on the last episode. We have Chris lets us know that he's got Godfidence, which I thought was kind of cute and would make a good T-shirt. Sammy's lesson learned: don't trust anybody. If this is filmed, like a week later, like I don't think we get these same answers or whatsoever from any of these people.
No, this, like you said, this is either the same night or minimum the following night. But you know what I wanted her to say, and nobody said it, is this, on the one hand, yes, don't trust anybody online. But on the other hand, that you can form real friendships there. Like there's no question that we saw that, that the connections that these people made were real.
But
on the other hand, that doesn't come out.
Right. That doesn't come out from her because I think she's still in shock over the whole Rebecca thing. And I mean, like I don't think any of them were happy about the Rebecca thing.
But I don't think anybody was shocked by Rebecca except for Shuby, because all the others had expressed after Ed said it. They were like, like there's that whole conversation with Sammy and Chris where they're kind of dancing around each other, but by the end it's clear that they're both on the same page, that they have concerns about Rebecca. And Joey certainly did. Yeah, so they shouldn't have been so shocked when they were right.
But I don't think they're shocked. I think they're just mad.
Do you really think?
Shuby's reaction to the other people being fake, I was just like, I want to hire a bodyguard to get Rebecca out of the building before Shuby figures this out, because he is going to just lose it.
Yeah. So next up, Shuby with the uncomfortable walk to the stage, which was so cute. It's just, like you got Joey doing the dance, you got Seaburn, doing, Sammy's got her thing down. You even see on the screen, but she's just like, this is my shit. And even Mercedes is like, damn, that girl did that there. And she's doing it there. That's her thing. It's like the Jonny Fairplay with the feet. I was just like, so everyone in Shuby, almost trips. He's just like, he's looking around. It's just like, is there going to be another alert? I just thought it was so cute. I loved it. But his answers are once again uncomfortable because I just think he had not processed, hadn't done the outpatient processing yet. And, it's just like, what would you have done? He's like, I guess I would have been an old person if I had but I wouldn't be a cat. I don't know. It's just like, this is so uncomfortable.
Few months and it'll be interesting to see his take on it now. Although he is just generally so positive, is like has any negative feelings with us anyway, but we can try.
Oh no, he's kind of open. So next up is Joey, and it's right there where I'm just like, the cheers are based on what I'm guessing a crowd that has no idea who they are, who Joey is. Unless they're staff. That
was canned. Yeah. It sounded canned to me.
Sure. But Joey admits he has a real connection with Miranda, even though he didn't save her. And we'll see, they said she seemed all in. I was kind of shocked, but she seemed all in too. Like, I kind of thought it was one of those, in the moment things, but it seemed like a little more, once again, really close to time. But, I feel like she's had enough time to be like, we'll see.
Right.
But she's like, no, I'm down.
Yeah, but she said that she falls too fast for people, and she's like always making the mistake of falling in love like too quickly. So he probably like puckered up, and now she's ready to get married or something like that. Who knows?
Maybe. So next, we have the breakdown of Shuby and Broy Joey, and love that. I mean, they're a fun tandem. Good TV. I think
Joey posted a couple of days ago, just like screened his phone after a conversation. We're still bros.
Whoops, sorry, you went out for a little bit. What was that again?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This keeps happening. Joey just posted phone with Shuby and like showed that they had been talking for, I think, almost like an hour. And his point was just they're still very tight, which is just, and I really feel like that was that the relationship that made this season?
I mean, well, my notes next, Seaburn comes out next, and I think he was the greatest character of the season. So really? I loved the friendship of Shuby and Joey. I thought I thought, I mean, it was lovely, not and I thought, Sammy was fun and cute, and and I thought, Adam/Alex was hateable, but I thought that the dynamic character of the show was Rebecca/Seaburn. I mean, I just thought it was so amazing, as you mentioned, the method acting that and the depths that Seaburn took himself to emote this character. I thought it was impressive.
I mean, he did a good job that he went so long without really being, suspected. And if Ed had not kicked that ball, had not started that conversation, he might have gotten to the end without being suspected. I mean, he went for a long time with nobody really questioning him.
So, and he's, and asked if given the opportunity, would you change anything? And he's like, nope, wouldn't change a thing. And the rest of the cast did not seem overly happy with that answer.
Well, you think the answer should have been, the answer's supposed to be, oh, I should have just come in as myself?
No, I think that if there's a separation of, I mean, maybe even two days that I think that the contestants are like, all right, I can see that. So, but I think that the wound was just so fresh. They're just like, nope. So,
didn't he mention somewhere on the show? And of course, now I'm like starting to blend them all together. But didn't he mention something to do with the theater or having some sort of theater experience? I was like so small, and I don't know if it was in the reunion or the final thing, but. Now listening to you say this about like the whole method acting and everything and him having a modeling connection, like, I'm starting to wonder if he was more of a, of not a plant, but if there was just more to him than what we were led to see.
Yeah, a plant. So maybe, I mean, as I said, I just thought he was the most dynamic character. So, I think we can blame shitty Eddie for possibly ruining the end of the story. So,
what you're saying that if Ed hadn't come on, that Rebecca could have won.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I don't have a problem. I mean, like the way everything worked out is fine. As I said, it just there's just a everything of the reunion was just weird, and this is just and yet another component of what was weird about the the reunion. So the reaction to Seaburn. I just think that they weren't like, he was just like, hey, it's over. You know, that was kind of cool that I did that. And, you know, and they were just like, not really. And as I said, I think, you know, if there's like a 1 day, you know, 1 or 2 day break, they're just like,
yeah,
hats off to you, you know,
you might,
like that.
Yeah, you might be right, because in the UK there was a catfish one season who got to the end and somebody didn't take it particularly well, but like 3 days later there were all these pictures on Instagram.
Sure. So, whoops.
Deal with the experience, and then they were fine. So maybe you're right. But the thing is, is the production really going to want to keep people in sequester for what, another 2 or 3 days?
No, you have to feed them. Fuck that. Yeah, no. Like the only reason they do that on Survivor is because they don't give us nothing. They're just like, yeah, we'll keep you for 39 days and give you a bag of fucking rice between 20 of you. Good luck. Here's a stick.
Yeah. No, especially in this case, I mean, it would be easy enough to just keep them in there for a few more days. But at that point, also, people are chomping at the bit. The game is over. They want to go home. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's time for the votes. 5th place, Rebecca. So, and that just kind of lends to the fact that, you know, the jig was up. Everyone kind of figured it out with the exception of Shuby.
Right.
4th place, Chris, you know, maybe, you know, like as fun as his one-liners were, maybe there wasn't anything more substance-wise other than the one-liners. So we, you know, I guess we learn as a viewer that the game was not who was the best texter.
Right.
3rd place is Sammy, because she, you know, did more than Chris and was not discovered like Rebecca. You know, she was just a good, solid person that played, you know, a pretty safe game and, you know, saved enough for the boys that were interested, but all those boys are gone and not members of this final jury. Next, 2nd place, Shuby. So, that leaves our winner, Joey, which I'm surmising must be the greatest week of his life. He got the kiss from the beautiful girl that should not have come, but kudos to him for making it happen. You know, imagining it and realizing it. Kudos. And then winning the $100,000.
He looked absolutely shocked when they announced it. And he said later that he was just waiting for them to say Shuby had won, because everybody expected Shuby to win, and Shuby didn't win.
Sure. All right. So here's where we go to the text. So speaking with my new good best friend, Shuby. So I was like, just finished watching. Great job. I'm proud of you. He said, thanks. That means a lot. That final ranking, I was a bit naive, though. And I was like, why do you say that? He goes, oh, I mean, as a Survivor watcher, I was yelling at myself for ranking Joey as first. But then when I was there, I just became so emotional. So Shuby gave his number one competition and probably knew his number one competition a number one ranking.
And Joey, it seems, Joey was kind of going back and forth. Initially, he wanted to give Shuby 4th.
Yeah. And
then he says, I don't know, maybe I'll do 2nd. But certainly if he ranked him 4th, that could be the difference. That's where Joey won.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. And then also, he says, sometimes I feel like I'm a bad person when I watch the episodes.
Shuby?
Yeah. And I'm just I'm like, no way. I'm like, geez, you played an extremely honorable game and you should be very proud.
Yeah. I mean, if Rebecca said that, you know, then at least it would be understandable. What did Shuby do wrong?
No, as I said, it was just like I'm reading the text. And I was like, oh, I'm just like I want to give him $100,000. Like, I'm just like, is he working me? Has he finally learned how to play the game?
Felt that way, or did you inquire as to what he would have seen that would have inquired?
No, I said, you know, like that. That's when I eventually said, you know, let's just do the podcast. I was going to have him on tonight, and it, you know, I just, if we had done 30 minutes tonight, it would have thrown up the flow of working from the beginning of the episodes to the end. So I was just like, let's talk tomorrow. Let's chop it up. Let's break this down.
Yeah, this has already been more than 2 hours, so I think you made the right decision.
I think I did.
But it'll be fun to talk. Questions answered.
Sure. So, but all in all, on a letter grade scale, where do you guys give this? You can use pluses and minuses. A to F, I guess A to F minus if you A plus to F minus if you really want to get technical. Where do you guys rank or rate season 1 of the Circle UK? Marni first.
Oh dear God! Now I feel like I'm on the show.
Well, you're the school counselor gone rogue. I mean, I figured I would go the letter grade to you first.
No, well, you know us. We like to give all A's. I mean, I really, really did enjoy it. Yes, you guys have a different take on the production and comparing the UK thing, but watching those relationships kind of grow and, well, I say blossom, but that's like gag worthy right there. But I really enjoyed it. I would give it, well, the reunion took it down a peg. I'd say strong B plus A minus, you know, right on the cups there. So
sure. Okay. Karen?
Said you were going to give. I'm going to also say I think I would have said A minus until the reunion, and that also kicked it down to a B plus for me. Still very solid show. Very happy. I hope it comes back. And I do, but the things that are wrong with it are easy to fix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very easy. So easy.
The casting was great, and that is, as usual, 90% of the battle, and they did a great job with the casting.
Absolutely.
What do you think? What was your grade?
I'm at a B. I think I could be talked into a B plus. So, but last time I checked, B was very good. So, and I'm pretty anti pluses and minuses. So I think I just want to hold firm at my B and call it a day and feel like I'm being very respectful, very generous, and very nice and very satisfied as a viewer.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, well, awesome. Karen Eisenberg, we can find you on the Survivor NSFW Patron secret Facebook group if we're looking for you. Where else can we find you? What do you want to plug?
So you can find me on Twitter. I have to confess, I do not. I'm so basic and so old that most of my social media at this point is still on Facebook. So if anybody does want to look me up on Facebook, Karen Bell, Bell Eisenberg on Facebook. On Twitter, and I am trying to use Twitter more. My Twitter is Karen Talks a Lot.
One more time. That was Karen.
Karen Talks a Lot.
Yes.
All one word.
Yes. So, and we will. You'll be assisting with some of these upcoming interviews as we wrap up our circle coverage here at Survivor NSFW. Marni, where can they find you?
Sliding into the DM. No, thank you guys both for having me. I can't wait to listen to the interviews when they come out. You can find me on iTunes at School Counselor Gone Rogue or just teampasch.com. But you know what? I'm not here for the plug. I enjoyed the show. I'm just glad to have a chance to talk about it. So
sweet. Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for everyone watching. If you're a fan of the show and you're a fan of what you watched and or listened to, click that subscribe button on YouTube. That's youtube.com/Survivor NSFW, and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all those things. Click that subscribe button. The links to any of those are found at SurvivorNSFW.com. That's SurvivorNSFW.com. And if you like us even more, go to click on the Patreon link at survivorsfw.com. Become a patron. We do a weekly Q&A in which you guys ask questions. It's a lot of fun. Is the best way to support the podcast. We have lots of stuff like the Castaway Watch Along and some other stuff that you can catch each and every week. It's exclusive content for the patrons. But Karen, Marni, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone at home and wherever you are in your travels. And we'll see you next time when the circle comes back, whenever it does.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.